The first question is from Rodrigo. How we need to rethink our understanding of things like software design patterns, programming languages, and the role of developers in the software development, taking AI into account. So you guys are free to bring your insights, and you guys have the microphone, so be welcome to share. You want me to repeat the question? For sure, of course. So how we need to rethink our understanding of things like software design patterns, programming languages, and the role of developers in the software development, taking AI into account. What's your opinion on this? What's your take?
Hi. Well, just a very quick note. I think we found the best programming language. It's English. So that's settled, and I think the battle now is on the design pattern. So my contribution is just, I think we found the best programming language, and we can stop all the wars. And so I'll let someone else take over now.
Well, on a note to that, sorry, I think that we as a developer still are going to have to need to learn stuff, obviously, because we're at a stage that we need to fact check everything that we are doing. Obviously, you can compare different tools and different AI solutions, but there, you have to at least get to a point that you trust them enough before you use the stuff that it gives you. One example that I gave in my presentation in the morning was when I was trying to ask ChatGPT and a bunch of other AI tools about Remix, it kind of just got it wrong like 7, 8, 9 times. Even if after I gave it a bunch of data sources and a bunch of things it could go through. So I don't see it as a developer that we have to stop focusing those things. I think that these tools are there to enhance your experience, but you still have to take it with a grain of salt. So you still have to need to know those things before you implement them. Yeah, that was a bit of a take on that.
All right, go ahead. Then I'm gonna go ahead. So hey guys, I haven't been on the stage today. My name is Sergey, and I've been asked by Artyom to join. I'm CTO at Namecheap, and my perspective is going to be not so much of a developer, but more of a person who organizes the work of developer and bridges the connections between the product managers, UX designers, developers, different other parts of the business. So, and I would agree with the previous speaker in the sense that today, the way it stands, probably it's another tool that helps us and probably is not fundamentally changes things. But as you think about it, we've seen ChatGPT 3.5 in October, November, December of last year. Then we saw 4 in the beginning of this year. So it's gonna be evolving pretty quickly. And as it evolves, probably English is gonna become one of the languages for some kind of an input. Then from the other perspective, it looks like right now ChatGPT is not really computational in a sense. So it looks like something computational is going to emerge, which is going to be paired up with the English language as an input, and those are probably going to work together. As for the patterns, I have no idea, to be honest. So I'm going to assume that the patterns are the reflection of something fundamental. So probably they're going to morph into something else, but like the core of the patterns is going to remain. It's going to take a different shape. There's going to be some fundamental blocks and stuff like that. And there was a third one in the question. I think it was like UI or something. No, I mean it was I think it was the patterns, right? The languages.
Design patterns. Yeah, they did mention. Yeah.
And the role of the developer, right? Yeah, and developer I think is going to remain as an engineer. So the way I feel about developers are engineers, and I think. They will become even more so engineers, people who are going to be solving problems in a more complex ways, and they will have more tools at their disposal, and their work is going to be less doing tedious micro stuff and doing like more actually solution design and like optimizing things and stuff like that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you can think of the helping these tools for you as a developer. As for now, we have like amount of the models which are publicly available, so you can take this model, create your own ChatGPT, and train it on your patterns, on your project, and use it for yourself. For example, you have like specific patterns in your project, and you can get the LLM and train it based on your fine-tuning based on your project specifically, and use it inside your application or even secure perimeter. So this is like good for security perspective, because you are not exposing your private code and private information which are you using and building inside your project, but you still have the support of machine learning, right? And the joke around the AI and ML, so if you see the slide deck around the AI, so this is AI, right? If someone write the code on the Python, so this is machine learning, right? So that's the difference between the specific stuff, and you are need to try to understand how you can use it and how it can help you to build good stuff, and maybe make it faster for you to develop and to build the features and products. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's jump into the next question. We've been talking a lot about expert developers, and this one question is quite nice. It's an anonymous question. And do you guys think new devs are at the disadvantage because new tools and frameworks like this are solving problems they don't understand before they even might truly learn them? How do you guys think about this?
So one thing, I fully agree with that because it kind of, let's put in this perspective, as developer experience got better, well, as developers kind of started forgetting a bunch of the fundamentals and ignoring them because, well, it felt easier. Now imagine what can happen with something that's been built by UI. Like, that's why I mentioned previously, we have to make sure that we know our basics and we know our stuff, because obviously it will help us, it will save us a bunch of time, but if we forget about the stuff that we are doing and if we kind of just trust it blindly, we're gonna just become like prompt engineers instead of becoming front-end or back-end or whatever developers. And this is definitely something that I fear from a developer education perspective, is getting into a point where people just take a step back and trust AI and trust something to kind of do the job for them without understanding what they are doing. So yeah, that's definitely a take on it.
Oh yeah, maybe I can be a bit more controversial. Yeah, I think we're going to be replaced by AI.
We are here for controversy, man.
It's very simple. I mean, how many of you have coded assembly? How many of you have coded in C even? So the level of abstraction is getting higher. So yeah, there's one person. I mean, I did some assembly, I did some Fortran, 77. So, but you know, this is over. It's over. So we have lost control of the machine. We are soon losing control of software. So I think the most important question is, what is security going to look like? And I really like the security talk today because it was all about threat modeling, right? So I think the threat is going to be, what is the domain of action that this AI is going to do? So a lot of people now are experimenting with what, Artem also mentioned, is talk with these AI agents, right? Because this thing is not a model anymore. Like you can put plugins, you can connect to the internet, you can build baby AGI. So the time where you have a fully autonomous agent, which is basically what also we are building for our own purposes. Because, let's be honest, building code, it's tedious. I had a very romantic view about code when I was growing up, and even now as a professional. And what I learned in the last 6 months was, yeah, maybe it's not magical. Maybe we are not artists. Maybe most of the code we write it could be replaced by a machine. And I think the sooner we accept that fact, it's going to be easier for us to deal with it. I really like Kasparov's view on AI, which is, he calls it augmented intelligence, right? So human intelligence is not good enough anymore, right? So we need to basically use AI as our augmented intelligence, right? So we are cyborgs because this is our extension. Like most of us feel naked without a cell phone nowadays, and so this is only getting worse and worse, because worse in a good sense. We are adopting technology at a very interesting pace. And so I think that we are going to be replaced eventually. I think we'll become more, creators, more creative, and more, just having a dialogues with machines. The thing that really scares me, just to be ultra controversial, is what I think you finished with a slide saying, don't forget software is built for humans. But I think what we are soon to experience is, so I'm going to tell you about a small experiment we are doing. We have this AI agent. It has some notion of resources and tasks, so it can start building code and deploying things. And the next step for us is to, at some point, connect to a crypto wallet. So once you connect an AI agent with a crypto wallet, basically you have a new unit of economics, because this thing will start doing Amazon orders for you, for example. So as soon as you start having these kinds of complexities, all bets are off, because you have an AI which is starting to become a user. So there'll be people building products for this AI. And I think that's really the interesting part that's going to happen, which is when this new thing becomes a part of economy that we don't fully understand yet. And I think that's where security really comes into play, which is how we're going to deal with that. How as a society we are going to deal with the fact that now we are working and the user, the end user, the software user, is going to be a machine. I think that's really kind of where we are going to go very, very fast. I think we are in a very unique place in history. I would feel very scared. I think when I see a lot of people, a lot of my friends in Silicon Valley, they are quitting their jobs. They are making 400, 500K, and they're quitting their jobs today to start working on AI. You should be scared. Because the people that are finishing university, I gave a talk at my alma mater a couple of weeks ago, and I compared the syllabus between my time, which was like 15 years ago, and today. It was 80% was the same. So people are taking the exact same degree that I took. But imagine how much different the world was back then. There was no iPhone. I remember the iPhone keynote. There was nothing that exists today. So yeah, learning the fundamentals is great, but most of us don't actually learn the fundamentals. We learn them and we forget them. They're not as important as we think they are. I would be a little bit scared as, taking a degree in computer science today. I would take it more on, product management, for example. I do think that the ability to learn what people want and building products and using AI for that, because as I hear now very often, is unicorns will be made with 5 people. This is the reality that investors are starting to expect. So as an entrepreneur, we have to do more with fewer people, because people are expensive. And I think that's also quite scary. I think we're a little bit far away, using the model. At the moment, OpenAI is the most expensive tool at ReviewPad, which is crazy. And we're not doing that much stuff, that crazy stuff. So it's just too expensive. It's just too expensive to build all these API calls and so on. But as soon as they fix that problem, as soon as it's very, very cheap, as it is cheap compute is cheap nowadays, I think we are going to be in a very exciting world, and yeah, all for it. So embracing the adventure. I think that's my take.
Yeah, just a few words from my side. First of all, sorry, I'm a bit silent. I remember ChatGPT was released and I tried to send request. It was just, sorry, the service overloaded. And this is my brain now. And basically, more to topic, I don't know, someone said that machine can replace 1 million ordinary people, but it never will replace one extraordinary people. And I think the main thing here, it's not to be some unique, but just to find our niche, which could be actually useful for people. And we shouldn't be super egoistic. For example, when people, I don't know, when industrial revolution happened, people started to strike and so on because people actually selfish. But in general, it helped progress a lot. So if they're going to be replaced by AI, why not? It will help progress in general. And I think we should think not like individuals here, but as a part of something bigger, as part of the whole civilization. And if we will be replaced by AI, then okay, let it be like this. We will find another thing to do.
Yeah, so from my perspective, so I use ChatGPT for learning. So this is like a huge field for learning new things because you are getting access for the most passionate teacher, and you can drill down from the bottom and ask the dumbest questions and get the full answers about the topic, right? And currently, this is like easiest way to get the knowledge and expand your knowledge from different areas. For example, you want to learn new language, and lastly, you need to go through this documentation. For example, you are moving from Node.js to Go, and currently you need to go through the website to try out of these things. But currently, you can just ask and see what ChatGPT get you, and you can explain this, why these work. And how it's work in JavaScript, for example. You know JavaScript and you can move or shift on the go, for example. So this is like the new way for learning, and you don't need to pay for the courses in this case. So you can just ask the ChatGPT to help you to learn new things. So yeah, it's very great.
Hello, I'm Ujjwal. You have not seen me before, probably. I'm not an expert on AI, but based on what we've been talking about, one thing I feel we tend to forget as technologists is that ultimately technology is just a tool to solve problems. Unfortunately, technology is limited by human constraints. So that means that we have a certain bar for which problems we can afford to solve. And I think the acceleration of AI, one thing that it enables us is to lower that bar and allows us to focus on more problems. For example, the bar to create an animation or say a video game has lowered substantially in the last couple of years, and this has greatly increased the amount of art that we have and the options that you have at the moment. And I think in the startup world, it's very common to think about novel problems and how profitable the solutions to them can be. And I think this mindset might be challenged with more developments in AI because we can afford to solve more problems with smaller teams and more efficient systems.
And I agree with that. I think that the cost of, so going back to original question, was the disadvantage. Fundamentally, I think yes, the people who are here now and who are experts today will have an advantage against everybody else who's coming after them, right? But it's probably not going to matter that much because there's going to be so much other things that they can do that there's going to be like a fairly narrow area in which the advantage people are going to be the best and they're going to be needed there. But then like with such a low cost and like many, I don't know, would-be CEOs doing things themselves together or like learning or getting smaller teams and like solving problems that right now are not kind of cost-effective to be solved. It's probably, I feel that everybody's going to find his niche, but from perspective of like fundamental knowledge, definitely the people who had experience with more fundamental technologies, they will cost more, they will be in higher demand for those specific solutions. There's going to be a whole bunch of other things that can be solved, and there's going to be a job for everyone, I think.
All right. Let's still maintain a controversy now with this one question from Alec as well. So, do you guys think, will developers be negatively impacted psychologically if AI assists them to a degree where they no longer need to seek assistance from their colleagues? So like, are we building a giant wall inside our places with AI? Nice. The silence is nice.
So the question is about the psychological effect of...
Yeah. If developers will be psychologically and negatively impacted when they stop seeking assistance from their colleagues. Like, do you guys think this AI is bringing developers further from each other instead of closer? You guys think this is going to affect collaboration negatively way?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the opposite effect. I mean, in fact, a lot of mental health problems that we have as developers are fights against the machine. I usually say software development is all kinds of communication. There's 3 types of communications you do. One is with your PO, right? Because they provide the spec. The other one is with your colleagues when you're, for example, doing some code review. And the third one is with the machine, right? So that's basically what, in my view, software development is all about. It's about effective communication. And what this AI is really providing us is a way to communicate with the machine in a very easy way, English. You do stuff, and I'll just check. So I do think that there's going to be a huge advantage psychologically for me, at least that's how I see it. And I think it's a very important point people were talking about before, which is the accessibility of this. I don't know how many of you know the world population that can professionally code. If you had to guess, in terms of percentage-wise, how many people can professionally code today? 0.1%. So 0.1% of all the people in the world are producing the amounts of software that you see, which is completely crazy. For example, just one simple stat I like to say, a Tesla car has about 100 million lines of code. One car. Right? So what we're effectively doing is we are increasing the number of people who can code. And if that number goes from 0.1% to like 10%, 15%, the amount of evolution we can progress that we might see is just completely crazy. It's really unbelievable. So for me, that's a very hopeful situation where, I remember I have product ideas almost every week, and I'm like, oh, I cannot do this because it would take me 3 months to get a mock or to get a POC. If I suddenly have something that just gives me that kind of product thing, that's great. I'm here with people. Come, try it. What do you think? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Okay, I can discard it. So we'll be able to iterate much faster and just get a lot more feedback. And so I think that's very, very positive. I think it'll be a very good positive effect on the feedback that you get. You don't have to wait for people. You just have more tools. And I think communication with colleagues, I think something is going to change. The way I see it is a little bit like, I think this remote era is very interesting because a lot of people are working with, I'm here and there are people working in San Francisco, right? So you're kind of working, I usually say, like we call our AI agent Robin, and I typically tell my team, think that Robin lives in the desert in Australia, and that's pretty much it. The thing that we need is, it's on Discord, it joins our meetings, it can speak, it has a face, and you can connect with it. And that's it. So if it's around us, if it's somewhere else, doesn't really matter. So I think it's a little bit more that mindset of, this person, this being, I'm not going to call it person, but like this being that is like in Mars, and then just communicate with it. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, so I agree, actually, because the ChatGPT can solve 2 problems. This is a great communication, improve communication inside the team. For example, currently you can use ChatGPT to generate the good specification or technical subscription of what you want to see for the team, and you can very specific detailed specification or ask for implementing feature, right? This is like cover all the additional iteration meetings and stuff like that, so you understand that. And the second one, which bring GPT-4 for us, it's transfer knowledge between languages. So you can, for example, you have a manager who speaks only Portuguese, for example, and he easily can iterate with guys who are speaking, for example, Ukrainian, and they speaks through the ChatGPT on the same level, because ChatGPT can transfer this knowledge and prompts and answers which it's generated from multiple languages without any losing the context in this case. So this is cool.
Well, me from my side, I'm a bit skeptical about this, and especially about the psychological effect of it, because first things first, there's that traditional stereotype that of the developers on the cave coding has no social skills and interacts with no one. Well, I'm kind of worried that that stereotype gets worse, because now, instead of interacting with people, we are interacting with an AI. We're not connecting with real people. Obviously, there's going to be necessity for it, but think about it. Like, now I'm just going to go into ChatGPT or a tool and say, write code, do this, do whatever. Think about what a day of doing this might do to your personality after a couple of weeks or a couple of days doing this. You're going to have to start working on your social skills a bit more. So that's kind of the psychological part that kind of worries me about this. Yesterday we were actually discussing about this. I think that one skill that's going to start being even more necessary for developers going further are strong soft skills. We have very good hard skills right now, but the thing is, most of us kind of fail on the communication, on the leadership, and on the social part. That's one of the issues that we statistically have. Now, I feel like now with this part of the AI, we are going to have to get even better at communicating, have to get even better at reading human cues, because, okay, AI will do a bunch of stuff for us, but that will also kind of require for us to interact a bit even more with each other and be able to pick up on stuff that we kind of forgot about it. I don't know if anyone wants to take up on that.
I can just give a little anecdote, basically what you're saying. I think the point of connection, it's very important. So a lot of people think ChatGPT is smart. It's totally dumb, right? It's totally dumb. Just spitting out words like based on some distribution of words that it saw. But in the 70s, there was this program called ELIZA. I don't know how many of you have heard about this thing. So it was made by a psychiatrist in the US at MIT. And it created a program called Doctor. And what this program does, it's like a therapy, I think it's called Rogerian therapy, where basically you ask it a question like, how are you feeling? And it says, okay, I'm feeling fine. How does fine make you feel? So it's kind of repeating the question back to you. It's the most simple thing that it was doing, but it was a kind of like psychiatrist. So what the author of this program found out was it was completely shocked by how much people got emotionally attached to this program. This totally dumb program that was just repeating what you said to you in a kind of question to kind of feed. So it tells a story like, okay, the secretary that saw him building this program for months and months, at some point she was okay, I want to try it. And he was in the room, the computer was there, it's the 70s, right? So a huge computer. And then she said, please leave. I want to be with the machine alone. Mind blown. So we are very easy as humans. We want to connect so much that as soon as it resembles a human, it's just a tiny bit. Just asking the question the same way, you are like immediately drawn into it and you're like, amazing, right? I just wanted to give this thing like, yeah, there is going to be some people going to the rabbit hole, for sure. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I think there'll be like new mental problems being created probably because of this. And I just wanted to give this kind of anecdote about how easy we as humans connect with machines, and we want to give them meaning that we never anticipated, right?
I just want to add that to this day, I still say please and thank you to ChatGPT. So I hope I'm not alone on this. So let's jump into the last question, shall we?
You're right. You're right. So you need to do it for the history when the computers cover all this world. Yeah.
Yeah.
You say thank you.
I wanted to assure, if any of you are actually worried that your colleagues or your partners or kids, whoever would start talking too much to ChatGPT, if we continue to evolve this technology the way we usually do, in a couple of months, I suppose, every third or fourth message would be an ad. So I think it would not be.
All right. So actually, we don't have time for a last question. We're going to have to wrap it up here. But there was a very cool question that I hope you guys to talk a little bit on our after party. That it's like, what kind of professionals do we think we're going to be left after AI replace this kind of stuff? But we're going to leave this for the after party. Now I want to bring Artem to the stage, and I want a round of applause for this amazing guy and for these amazing speakers. Thank you.
So only one thing, I'm sure that ChatGPT will never replace you, Gio, so you're amazing. Guys, thank you for participating in this roundtable. It's interesting format, it's free, you are sharing your ideas, you are sharing thoughts, it's nice. Thank you for your question. You spent with us 10 hours, it's a hard job, but we have less than half of our visitors, but thank you so much staying with us 10 hours, it's amazing. Thank you for our speakers, thank you for organizers, thank you for partners, so we can move on. Hope see you next year. Thank you so much.